This is The Master's Touch with your host, Bishop Melvin A. Brooks. Heaven O and praise the Lord. The Master's Touch.
Well, good evening. God bless you on this Monday evening. Praying by the mighty grace of God that you are well wherever you are this evening. I pray a great weekend and you're looking forward to the changes in the rules, but at the same time intend to be safe and protect your family and yourself from this dangerous virus out there. God is a good God, and God is a Father that we can trust for the provision in every area of our lives. So tonight we're going to talk about a father call to his teenage son, our sons. Father, I pray a blessing this night discussion, this sharing. I pray you cover us in Jesus' name. Direct us, guide us with your wisdom, your knowledge, revelation, inspiration. Allow those who will listen tonight to grow by gaining information and to help enhance their lives. I pray a blessing, fathers tonight and sons, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so last week we talked about unfinished business, the deceased father. And we do a lot of things about that. For example, if your father is deceased, and let's say it wasn't known by you or wasn't in your life, it wasn't involved, you played no part, and you discover who he was, and you were concerned, then I said to do things like write a letter, very strong letter explaining how you felt by his not being involved in your life, explaining the hurts and pain you've been through, how hungry you were, if that's the case, and then in the end, you forgive him and you say, I forgive you and rest in peace, or whatever you might say. Now, here's the thing with that. Once you've written a letter, you can bury it where the grave is, if you know that. You can burn it, or if you wrote the funeral, you could actually put it in the coffin or in the grave. The reality is, at least those stuff you kept within you is now out in the open. You have confessed those in your writing, and you speak as though he will read your letter and understand your experiences. Now, fathers don't realize that our decision as fathers can negatively impact our sons' lives. And we have responsibility for our sons to become a man of substance, man of integrity, man of valor, man of direction, man of purpose, and a man who will know who he is, where he's going, and that then will determine who will go with him where he's going. So then the father's call to his teenage son is so paramount. And there are critical needs today for fathers to call their teenage sons from dependency on mom and mother, or grandma, or auntie, and towards a manhood calling they were born to embrace. Boys was must always respect, love, care for, honor mom. At certain times, those sons, boys, must be allowed to spend as much time as possible with their father. There is a need for the boy to develop into manhood, and it means that his father or his stepfather, whoever it is that stands in the gap for his father, must ensure that boy, that son, has access to him on a consistent basis to allow him to discover what manhood looks like going hunting, going to work, football, basketball, whatever, masculine things. You know, they say if you give a little boy an electric saw, he would go into the woods and cut everything down in sight. Because it's what man does. Man cut things, break things, man do big things. And so the boy, the son, must have access to the father and time to learn from him and to grow with him, beside him. As the boy moves towards teenage years, he needs that support system. Sometimes the mothers can actually impede that. In Genesis, you find where Rebecca had twin boys, and of course Jacob and Esau. And because she knew who God said Jacob would have been, then she kept Jacob very close to her. And Jacob was really at home and home with mom most of the time, where Esau was out in the fields. Now, I'm not saying that anything wrong with mama teaching her son to cook and clean houses. That should be done. But sometimes it can be overdone. He must know the difference. That wise men must know to wash, cook, iron, sew, clean. They must also know they must go to work. They must cut the lawn. They must do things, physical things, men things. Because if they are not exposed to that, they will become less masculine, possibly, and more feminine in their behavior and mannerism. So fathers ought to make sure his teenage sons have as much time as possible with him. Very important. Because if he doesn't have that, he develop a very soft side, a very feminine side, and that's not good for him. He must learn to wash his clothes. I did mine. I learned to cook, wash, iron, clean, and go and cut wood or fetch dry wood for cooking in Jamaica, fetch water on my head, man things, providing for the family, go to work, plan, save, organize, protect the women in the home, his mother, his grandma, his daughter, sisters. All these things ought to be taught the value of. He must know that your sister must be protected and safeguarding her from other intruders. Well, that is teaching values and responsibility and accountability. So he must know that. So learn to wash his clothes. He must schedule his own haircut. He must know when he must go to the barber, have his hair cut, make his own bed, clean his own shoes, tidy his own room. All the things he needs to know. He must know how to manage his own money. Those are taught. How, if you didn't see it, we don't want it. Going shopping, is hard to be want to buy now on the list? No. So if it is not on your list, if you hadn't seen it, you don't want it, then you don't want it. They must taught principle how to save the money, how to value money, value the time, and where they spend their time with whom. They need those things. I buy his own clothes, I make his own decision. Of course, God help us with his clothes to buy these days, but they still must decide what to buy, the cost to pay for it, the price to pay for it, and how to make decisions. Now, decisions must be made in light of all their consequences. So he must know every decision you're making in life, they all have consequences. So before you make any decision, son, these are things to consider. So buying a car, but how old is the car? How many owners? How many engine replacement? The body works. It goes on. You must know what you're doing because you're investing real money. You should also know in real terms, unless it can be avoided, the first major purchase you attempt to make is a property, a flat, a house, or whatever. That must be in his mind. It may not materialize yet, but it must know the price must be ownership with something substantial as investment for the future. Of course, based on where you are in the world and the economic situation, it may not happen, but you must know that a principle. Then in making those decisions, he must realize he will live with them. So he must really think things through. He must cultivate a mindset of investigation, attempting to identify what he's doing and what also he expects from what he just did. And again, training is important. And we are examples. So sometimes when you're doing a home budget, family budget, bring them to the table. Say, son, we pay for the gas, pay for the electric, pay for the water, we pay council tax, we pay a mortgage, we buy food. If you're a Christian, go to church, we give a tithe and offering, or we save this. We have car insurance, house insurance, life insurance, and we have pensions. And all these things are things that they are to know about. Some children live in them and don't even know they're going to pay rent, light bill, and gas bill. They're surprised when they come to the door, and council tax. All these things are essential things he must know. He must also know in the house, he is not a tyrant, a bully, but he is the head of the house, meaning a spiritual leader. So he has to know to pray, how to read the Bible, interpret the Bible, and how to live by what he just read. That comes by teaching from his father. The value of discussion, the value of reasoning, the value of understanding, the value of knowing, the value of knowledge, wisdom, all these in Proverbs 24, 1-5 is there. Those you build house with those. And you furnish yourself with those with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They must know that. They must be taught how to choose a spouse, what to consider, what to look for. Again, where he wants to go in life should determine who he chooses to be his spouse. There are many young men today who are choosing a spouse, a young woman, based on just looks alone. And I said last on shapes, and that's fine, but that's not enough. Where you are going should determine who you choose to go with you on that journey. You want no confusion. You want no, as it were, complaints and regrets. So therefore, before you start talking about, I love you, I love you, I love you, you're beautiful, all that stuff, have a conversation. Who are you? What are you about? Where are you going in life? What profession you selecting or currently in? In 5 years' time, by God's grace, what does He for your life? You would like to have children if God permits us. Where would you like to live? And so forth. All these things are critical things. How do you value money? What is your love language? All these things are critical things to know. Because these help you. Get to know each other well. Get to know who she is, what she's about, what her goals are, her objectives are, her plans are. You need to know all these things. But your son needs to be taught how to make decisions. He must know, for example, with major purchase or a major decision, it'd be a good idea to seek counsel. If you don't want to come to me, there are good people out there you can go to and seek the right counsel, the right advice before you make a decision that may cause your future, your life, or even your well-being if you're alive. They must know the value of counsel because in the multitude of counseling, there are safety. The more counsel from good people you have, the better position you are to make a great decision and a great choices. He also must know from his father that, critical, that failure is not a person, but failure is an event or a person's opinion. And yes, he will make bad decisions. You must know that. You make some bad choices. It may hurt you too. It may cost you too, but you can get through that because you make a decision with information you had at the time and you believe was right. Now, we help you get through this, but don't give up. No successful people succeed at once. It takes time to develop trust, competence, expertise, skills, and so forth. So don't worry. Learn from this mistake as you move forward to the next particular project or business ideas. But never feel as though you're a failure. because you're going to have more experience like these. And if you believe you're a failure, you may well lose your way in life. So remember, you're not a failure. I'll walk you through what you've gone through. I recommend someone help you to identify where you may have gone wrong, and maybe by decision, and have fixed those holes, those gaps, that you can move forward into a better life. He must know, that young man must know he needs to turn from dependency and the world of women to dependency and the world of men, meaning he must lean towards his father. If his father isn't there, there's his uncle, his grandfather, or even a stepfather. But he must not rely only on his mother or grandmother and the person who rear him for direction. He needs to be also influenced by men. That is critical for man. It's important. He's also highly influenced by men, because there are things men can speak to him on that make sense to him from man's perspective. So I need that man beside him. So mother, don't bubble your boy amongst your friends, but rather find somebody you can trust. It could be his granddad, it could be your brother, his uncle, or if he's a bigger brother who he can trust, whatever. But he must be exposed to men. He must go to a man's barber shop. He must go to a man's shop, buy his clothes. He must behave in a certain way that he know is a man. That's our job, to teach him. That's our responsibility. And then independence just means he disregard his mother, his grandma, his sister. What does mean? He lean on men for certain information that he needs. He must know that. Okay, here are three important keys, or door openers, that one may find to give to a son, grandson, or a brother, or a nephew, as they strive to open doors of life and make a future for him and for his future family. The Bible is well equipped with direction for our children through us, and we are to teach them the principle that the Bible taught us. So the call of manhood must be clear and direct. Manhood is not something that just happens to a boy overnight. Instead, a dad must take initiative and say, son, come join me. Come join me in manhood. Very important. Don't be vague with your son, but decisiveness is important to him. Be direct. In order to that effect, that boy must know when you call him forward and speak to him, he knows something is coming from you to help him. So in order to do that, you must know what manhood is all about. You must know the way before you show the way. So if you're a father or an uncle or wherever you are in his life, you must know the way before you can show him the way. And therefore, it's important that whoever is a mentor him know exactly the way to go and how to get there and what to expect along the way and in the end. And that comes through knowledge, wisdom, time served, and understanding. Experience is good. So that's important. It is a good idea to proactively discuss with his mother the fact that she would increasingly need to back off a little bit. Some of the caregiving activities as her son moves through his teenage years. Mom sometimes step back a bit and let him and his father do business together so he can be developed into the man he ought to become. And of course, one good pattern to follow is where the father is an example to his son at home, or stepfather, however, is an example to his spouse. So the son can see, actually, I can see what he's saying. For in his lifestyle, I'm seeing those principles and practices. This will signal to the son that a break from dependency on his mother is mutual, it's agreeable. It wasn't forced, but father, mother agree it's time to let them come my side and stay with me and grow with me as become the man he will be in the future. And, and that's important. There must be agreement. There must be agreement, because if there is no agreement, it could create conflict with him and who he is and what life is about with his father and mother. He could think they are not together, but when they agree and share that openly to him, he feels safe, secure, he will follow through and learn from the particular exposure he will now have. So it must agree that it's time to answer the call of manhood. The call to manhood must be ceremonial, a ceremony. It must be a ceremony. Uh, when your son reaches a certain age, in the Jewish tradition, have a boy at 12, a bat mitzvah for him. They know they say allegedly that they could be a husband, and they know to manage money and business and home. They know enough about life to lead. Know business, they know about business, they know about life and money. They don't know how to be a father or a leader in their own home. They're taught that. The girls are also taught. So my point is, we have to invest real time in our boys and girls. So a ceremony or a series of ceremonial services are signposts to your son. That means you can have, for example, a weekend and his birthday at 16 or 18. You could have something where you have different people come and talk over his life, speak over his life, encourage him, identify who he's becoming, and invite his friends to come and share with his celebration. And the idea is to let him see he has arrived at an age, he perceives to be a man in the making, not there yet, but is on his way. Although the law says he's a man at 18 or 16, the reality is at 24, they're about 25, probably the best time to say marine man. You're growing, you're learning, not there yet. Nevertheless, based on the law, at 16 or 18, I think, somewhere there, you can say you're a man. But he must be taught in advance, prepared in advance. When he get there, he know what to look for. And a ceremony to affirm him as a man, to affirm him as a young man with potential, as a young man who's going places, a young man of a future, a young man who knows what God expects of him and his father expects of him, a young man who sees his father's principles and practices, see his father through his mother and his sisters and his brother, and so forth. It's hard to have to form in his mind what it is like to be a father to the children. So those ceremonies will, one be about his age is at, the next one about where he's going, and the third one could be, right, this is to say to you, you are now the age. We're going to trust you with your life. It's up to you. You're proven through the training, support, the mentorship they have learned, and you apply these things. We have seen in the home, in your mom, your sibling, and myself. I've seen you function in a way that tells me I'm mature, not just physically, but mentally, economically, socially. You have a great mind. You're caring, you're supporting, you're loving, you're considerate, you're faithful, you're passionate, you're loyal, you're consistent, you're determined to get ahead, you study hard, work hard, you got great potential. I'm proud of you, son. Well done. Proud of you. Buy him dinner. Have a talk with him somewhere in a restaurant. Buy him something. Go buy him a suit. Buy him a shirt. Whatever. Buy as a gift of appreciation. Let him feel the power of your love and your affirmation of his life. Very important. The best way for a son to experience this is together with his dad and other men and be called into manhood via a powerful ceremony that is full of manhood imageries and languages that conveys the high calling of masculinity. He needs that. He needs that. The Bible says that I think with when the kings have a situation where the leader wants to send his son to kill a king, and the king was disappointed that they send a boy to do the job for man. So let your son develop Let your son develop into the man he should become. Let him identify himself through the model the life you want him to adopt. Number one, how you love God if you're a Christian, how you love your parent and honor them, how you love your siblings, but most important in his eyes, in the same house, how you love his mother, how you love his siblings, how you provide for them, how you speak to them, how you care for them, and how you invest for the family and make sure what they need is in the house. And what is not there is not because it won't be there when the time is right. You show them what to invest the money, how to keep healthy, eat healthy, how to behave themselves in public and private, how to honor their mother, how to honor their sister, how to honor work with their brothers, how to work with the system in the home, be obedient, live a life to reflect God's glory. They must discover through the father, through the dad, through the grandfather, through their brothers or uncles, men of substance, men of valor, how to be a man. They must know how to be a man of steel and velvet. When to be gentle, when to be hard, when to be kind, when to be tough. Tough love is necessary sometimes. All these are crucial things for a son to know as he grows and develops into the man he was born to become. And you, the father, as a father, our grandfather, must influence our children and grandchildren how they're growing up, in particular the boys. In my case, I have my granddaughter come to see us. When she comes, we have conversation like big people. We talk and we challenge each other. My grandson come and say the same thing. He just barely talking. We talk, we play together. He knows who I am. I know who he is. The granddaughter, we got two granddaughters. One is older, but the youngest one, she is very strong. She's tough, hard. She has tough questions. She challenges you. She cause you to think. She do things to cause you to realize she is not just a baby. My point is, if they can think that way, what about your teenage sons who need to know who they are? They must know who they are, must know where they're supposed to be going in order to get there and what to receive and expect when they get there. Tonight, all it takes is one touch from the Master to change their life for better. Our Master Teacher, Jesus Christ, is the best model example to follow. St. John 5:19, the Son can do nothing except what he sees his Father doeth. The Father is a model, he's a teacher, he's a guide, he's a counselor, he's a mentor. If he's in his place, doing the right thing the right way, for the right reason, it will catch on. Today I want to say to you, God bless you, God keep you, God strengthen you, and may God direct your life towards purpose. You are born to win and to win well. As man, be a father, be a grandfather, be an uncle, but be somebody significant. Your nephew, your son, or grandson in life that need you. May God bless you till next time. This is little brother, BMAB. I love you, but Jesus loves you best. One touch of Jesus Christ is enough to change everything you think are impossible. God bless you and good night.
This is The Master's Touch with your host, Bishop Melvin A. Brooks. Heaven O and praise the Lord. The Master's Touch.